Well, it's finally over. The Stanley Cup has been awarded, and now attention can finally be turned to the looming drafts, free agency, and possible trades in between. But what's interesting about these three players is, by power of suggestion, they could cause for some more excitement, as they reportedly want to move on from their respective teams. In this video, we're going to go over 3 NHL players that want to be traded, why, and where they may end up. And with that, here are 3 NHL players that want to be traded. The most recent disgruntled player to voice his displeasure with his organization was Vladimir Tarasenko, as according to The Athletic, ESPN, NBC Sports, and multiple other sources, the longtime Blue has asked to be traded. Now, first, why would Tarasenko decide all of a sudden that he wants to bail on the club that drafted him? Similarly to the current Jack Eichel situation, the main reason for the relationship souring between player and team is largely medically related. As The Athletic reported, quote, according to sources familiar with the situation, he is upset with the team's handling of his shoulder surgeries in 2018 and 19. His first 2 of the 3 such surgeries were both performed by Blues physicians, and they feel there's no trust left between him and the organization, end quote. To sum up the rest, basically, it wasn't until Tarasenko sought medical treatment outside of the team doctors that the extent of the ligament damage that previously went unnoticed was finally repaired. And after he returned last season, after the 3rd surgery, according to the article, which I'll link below, he was criticized even by his own organization after recording only 14 points in 24 regular season games played. Currently entering his second to last year of his 8-year contract with an AAV of $7.5 million, the forward is going to have some control over where he ends up, as he has a no-trade clause on the deal as well. Now, there have been a couple contenders reportedly that would make sense, including the New York Islanders and the New York Rangers. The Islanders would be the cup contender out of the 2 that would appeal to number 91 for that reason, and the Rangers most likely because of his good friend and international teammate Artemi Panarin. Unfortunately, though, the Isles at the moment wouldn't come close to being able to entertain the $9.5 million in total salary that he's actually owed for next season, unless they let one of their key players go in the expansion draft, that is. The Rangers could potentially absorb the cost and already have a well-established core that's full of promise. While Schmidt hasn't directly requested a trade, the falling out between the 2 parties was addressed by NHL insider Elliotte Friedman after Schmidt had an off-debut season with his new team. I think everybody kind of knows where everyone stands, that maybe Schmidt would like to go elsewhere, and maybe the team recognizes the marriage isn't necessarily going to work for both sides, the way everybody hoped, Friedman says. Therefore, knowing that a trade is imminent, if Schmidt isn't taken by Seattle, then it's likely he'll be representing a new team next season. While there are several teams looking to bolster their top 2 deep pairings, aside from Boston as we discussed last video, Minnesota and New Jersey could be nice potential fits for the blue liner. Knowing that Minnesota has previously shopped Matt Dumba with no such luck, it's pretty likely that he'll be swept up by Seattle here shortly, if the Wild choose to only protect 3 defensemen. Schmidt, who is a Minnesota native and has deep roots in his home state, as he played for the University of Minnesota. He can not only play either side comfortably, but he would carry the same cap hit of $6 million as Dumba will for next season. As for New Jersey, the last season for the club was a rough one. Even though they have tons of young talent coming up, their weaknesses in their own zone have been pretty hard to miss. Therefore, I'm sure one of Tom Fitzgerald's objectives this offseason will be to bolster the blue line where he can. With that being said, the club has more than enough cap space to afford Schmidt, who would be a welcome addition, I'm sure, to a thin back end. Not long ago, word broke out that Duncan Keith had requested a trade from his longtime team, the Chicago Blackhawks. Keith, who has been a part of the Hawks dynasty core, has been wanting to spend more time with his son, who lives in British Columbia. The defenseman, as I mentioned previously, has already been heavily linked to the Edmonton Oilers, as the team is facing uncertainty as far as its top 2 defensive pairings are concerned, as Oscar Klefbom's date is still unknown. It's the kind of surgery that I don't think we're going to have any clarity on until the fall. Klefbom's agent JP Barry told The Athletic, "I don't think we can provide any clarity until he fully rehabs it." Therefore, knowing Keith's preferred location, considering his no-move clause, this scenario could be one that Ken Holland favors. But if Holland wants to look elsewhere, then it's also possible that Seattle could trade for him as well. The 3-time Stanley Cup champ joining the NHL's youngest team wouldn't cost as much as Keith's 5.5 cap hit boasts, but will only pay Keith a total of $3.6 million over the next next 2 seasons, according to Cap Friendly. So, adding in a defenseman at a low cost who could bring in experience to a new team could possibly be something that could benefit both parties, as Seattle isn't far from BC at all.